You made
Ta-da!
it. Well,
I like
welcome
that.
to Transformation Tuesday. Yes, it's November 21st, 2023. This is Paradigm Shifters. And, who are we anyway? And Paradigm Shifters, we started in March of 2020. Every Tuesday, we bring on guest speakers, and we are a dedicated, growing global community dedicated to shift and uplift the planet. How's that for you? I wanted to share before we get started. This is our November, where our topic is harvesting the good, and I wanted to share with you, y'all, y'all. I was talking to a client yesterday. This is a week before Thanksgiving in the United States, and we were talking, and she said something that was so quotable. I told her I was going to steal it. I
Oh, nice.
love it when people throw out quotes. So, get your pens ready. Yeah, this whole hour is pen ready. She said, um, praise and raise, or complain and remain. Ooh, gold nugget, right? So, so I just thought that was gold. We were talking about, the for me at least, the little bit of anxiety that I'm feeling, with all kinds of things happening. And so I wanted to read something about giving too. Um, so let's take a moment to reflect on the beautiful concept of giving and receiving, and how it can bring untold joy and abundance into our lives. In a world that often emphasizes material possessions and personal gain, it's easy to overlook the profound impact that acts of generosity can have on our overall well being. When we give freely, whether it be our time, resources, or kindness, we create a ripple effect that extends far beyond the initial act itself. You see, giving is not just about the recipient, it's about the transformation that occurs within ourselves as we open our hearts and extend our hands to others. Giving allows us to connect with our innate sense of compassion, empathy, and gratitude. And it reminds us that we are part of a larger community and that our actions can have a positive influence on the world around us. Amen and amen, eh?
I love that. Mhm.
All right. Well, I love the fact that we have Kathy Biggs on with us today as our guest speaker. Um, I met Kathy as I was behind the scenes in Free and Fulfilled Live. And so let me introduce Kathy. Kathy's a senior life coach at Soul Savvy with Lauren Brollier Newton. And Kathy has a huge heart to see people get free of what's keeping them from being all they were created to be. And Kathy's a superstar, paradigm busting coach whose clients experience breakthrough after breakthrough. So, as a coach, speaker, and former minister, love that, Kathy's been helping people overcome fear, pain, and disappointments for over 20 years. So, prior to coaching, Kathy has had the privilege of being part of an international motorcyclist ministry. Whoa. And also served on a professional development team working with transitioning military and corporate leadership. So her passion is people and showing them how truly wonderful they really are. And that is what you do best. So I'm going to turn this over to you, Kathy, harvesting the good. Any stories, a little bit more about you.
Right.
Thank you so much for being part of Transformation Tuesday.
Oh, thank you so much, Judy. And It's such a pleasure to be here. And I'm so thankful for what you're doing in Shifters, because that's exactly what it is. It's shifting the paradigm, shifting the way we think about ourselves, our world, and the things that are happening. And when we shift our thinking about it, then things start to change. So I really appreciate that. And I also appreciate your coaching, kayak coaching. I think that's a fantastic, and I'm going to have to come to Austin and either bring my stand-up paddleboard or kayak with you, either or. I'm game. And so I love that. And so I really do appreciate that you're all about shifting and uplifting, because that's what it's all about. That's what happens in our lives, and the change that takes place in our lives. It happens because we're here to help contribute to the greater good of all. And so I just love what you do. I love that Lauren created Soul Savvy, that the infinite and in all the infinite's wisdom saw this before the foundation of the world, that we would be together, and Lauren brought us together in a way that was so beautiful. And so I'm just thrilled to be here. And then I wanted to share with you, when you said you started this in March 2020, that just took me back to that time, because I had been certified as a coach for a long time, but I really didn't want to build a company. It wasn't my jam. I was helping my husband build his company. And I thought, well, I'd like to have a job. I'd like to work for Brave Thinking Institute. So I applied for Brave Thinking Institute in November of 19. Got on board, started working with them. I was loving it, being in this community and everything. And in 2020, in March of 2020, we know what happened. The bottom fell out, so to speak. And in that moment, I had to shift my paradigms. Oh, what are we going to do? And it was so awesome to see Brave Thinking Institute just gather all the tools that they had, restructure themselves so quickly. But in the restructuring, last man in, first one out. So they had to restructure, and my position, because of the change in the way things were going, was done away with at that time, which was fine. It was exactly what was supposed to happen. But if I didn't have these tools and these skill sets to traverse that time, who knows what kind of emotional damage and baggage and things would have happened. But so I was in process helping my husband with the building business that we've been in for years and years. And then I was cleaning out my emails one day, and I was going through my junk, and I found an email from Lauren. See, I had met Lauren through Brave Thinking Institute at events, and we've gotten to know each other, and just conversationally. And there was an email in my inbox, or in my junk mail, actually. And this was, I guess, around May or June, I think it was. And it said she was needing help. So I emailed her back, are you still needing help? And she was like, well, I just hired a lady, and we'll see how this goes, and da-da-da. And just in case, I said, well, call me, see what happens. So in the end of, I guess it was June or July, I'm not exactly sure, Lauren calls me back and says, I need more help. And so that's how our story came together. And that was in 2020. And so we're going on 4 years now of doing this. And it's like I always say, I think we dreamed each other up. I wanted to be a part of a team. I wanted to bring my gifts and talents to something that was just, really making an impact in the world. And she had won the Coach's Impact Award and everything. So her dream and my dream came together, and here we are. And so I'm so grateful for the opportunities that that have happened in what seemed to be one of the world's worst times in our global awareness. It was just a real shaky time. So yeah.
So it's so important too, like the harvesting the good. And when have you, or what, maybe you could tell us a client story or something where there was something super devastating, you know what I mean, where there was devastation. And I know when I work with my clients, there's a period in there where there's no way they can go to the good. in
Right.
a war, how the we want to fix them right away, or there's no fixing, right? And can you tell me about maybe, and also as a minister, I'm sure you've seen that too, um, and all the work that you've done. Can you tell us possibly of a story where that was going on, and the period, the in between time is what I'm thinking.
Mm.
You know?
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, the first client that comes to mind was a lovely lady, and she had gotten a diagnosis, a very serious, serious diagnosis. They didn't give her much chance of survival. And she had a family, of course, and a husband, and and all the decision making and all the information that floods when you have that kind of situation. You need to do this, you need to do that, and what about this and what about that. The mind just starts to reel, and the emotions are so high, and so you're on such high alert. We talk about fight, flight, or freeze. You're just constantly in a fear mode every time the phone rings or you get an email or something like that. It's you just have the thought about the bad news or what ifs and things like that. So this young lady came to me, and she wasn't that young, but she was, younger than me, which doesn't take much. So anyway, she and I started to talk, and it was really just the work. We knew that she needed to get her nervous system calmed down, settled down, so that she could, breathe and make decisions from a place of power, as opposed to feeling like she was completely, like being tossed to and fro by the wind and everything else. And because every morning she would wake up, her first words out of her mouth was, "The anxiety is so high. The anxiety is so high. The anxiety is so high." And I said, "Okay, this is what we're going to work with. We're going to bring that down, and we're going to get you to a place where you can stop, pause, and start to look for the good all around you. There are still good things in your life, and you're still living, and we're still going to, enjoy what's in front of us." So we little by little worked with that. And then through the process of time, she had had a very strained, very close relationship with a family member that was causing her great angst. And it was constant, and it was like, it was, forefront of her thinking. And we just realized that, to create an environment for the healing, we've got to get from that acidic place where all the hormones are going berserk and creating all this tension, stomach aches, headaches, can't sleep. That's not an environment for any kind of healing to take place. You're taking medicine, you're doing treatment, you're doing this, but your environment isn't working with that. So we had to really work on this relationship and take the focus off of the actual physical malady and go to the relationship maladies, and really go to a place and to learn how to see that difference, shift our paradigms around it. And so through that process, she came to a place where she actually had empathy for this individual, absolutely, did the forgiveness. She thought she had done the forgiveness work before, but it wasn't to the degree where she was free. Her heart, she wanted to be emotionally forgiving this person, but it was still having, the triggers. When something happened, it would rise up. So we had to work on what it really felt like to be really free of that. And so we worked for, I don't know, several months. But finally, she came to a place where she knew how to handle her emotions in a way. We don't bury them, stuff them, because and I know any emotion that gets buried doesn't stay that buried, and it usually comes back way uglier and real quick in other situations. We can't. We have to transmute the energy. Is basically what it boils down to. The unforgiveness, the anger, the resentment, whatever we're holding on to, the depression. We have to transmute that energy. We cannot ignore it. So we went to, just dealing with, what was actually going on, and then changing perspective. And it's the beach ball thing. Here's the beach ball. From my side, I see blue, purple, and pink. It's beautiful. On your side, you see yellow, white, and orange, but we're looking at the same beach ball. And it's when we change our perspective, when we start to think about our situation and the people in our lives and our experience differently, then we can have a different response to it. And that's where the inner healing starts. And when that inner healing starts to really take hold, our internal chemistry completely changes. And we can sleep better and we can eat better. We don't have as many stomach aches. And in that, her numbers, her results were getting better and things like that. So it was really, normally we don't associate those two things, a relationship issue with physical well-being and health. And yet that is exactly a huge, and we know that nowadays, and with all the studies done and everything, how important the emotional well-being, spiritual, emotional, mental, physical, it's all. And that's what I told her. We have to get all of it aligned and going in the right direction, not part of you, not your body, not just your spiritual part, because she was a spiritual person too, not just your spirit. We got to get your emotions and your mental, you in the place where you are in control, where you choose what to think about and how to feel. And that's what we did. And praise, yeah. It's working. It's working. And so that's the good that was harvested. The relationship was really, changed. And then the physical healing was changed because of that. So yeah, I think that's a pretty good example. What do you think?
Wow, I took so many notes. There's gold nuggets like right there. And I love that. And I'm thinking right here, right now, in this week of families getting together,
Yes.
relationships there, right?
Mhm.
To me, it's easier to fight, fright, or freeze. So
Mhm.
can you? I would love to like unpack that right there. And what you said is so much gold that it wasn't the, well, it is the physical,
Sure.
and then to go into the relational healing, and it doesn't happen overnight. So I would love to have you go back and talk a little bit about that. How do you know when you're in that fight, flies, or freeze? Like what, I'm just having, this is going out to people in 56 countries. And I have a feeling it's not just where I live that this happens. So come on in here, Kathy. Give us
A human experience, and that's exactly what we build our paradigms. Our paradigms are basically, thought patterns because of our experience and our training, how we were brought up, and like the things that we were taught. Not that people were trying to teach us things that were going to be harmful to us, but they were doing the best they could with what they had. They were limited in their understanding of the human experience and how we process things. So we build these thought patterns. We make agreement with things that have happened in our life, and now we have a process by which, a filter by which all things go through. And so if we're taking an opportunity to maybe looking into a job or into a career or something like that, and we can't get ourselves to write the application, do the resume, or update my resume, or I can't call this person, or it's like, if the phone weighs 1,000 pounds, or I can't forgive them. It's like we have built within ourselves, because we've told ourselves the story about ourselves and our situation so much that there's an automatic response to new and different, and it scares us. And so our nervous system, because it's here to protect us, back in the old days when we were hunters and gatherers, we didn't want to be exposed on the savannah. We could get eaten by a lion or something like that. And so our natural tendency is not to let ourselves be exposed for fear of something happening. We don't want to be We don't want to be abandoned by the tribe or the people who love us. So, if I try and do this, they might not like it or something like that. So this fight, flight, and freeze is in all of us as humans, but we have evolved way past needing it to the degree that it is still in our nervous system. And so whether at some point we have to stop and say, stop. I need to do something different to get past this thing because it's keeping me, people say stuck. I'm frozen. I can't. And when people say I can't or I don't know what to do, I don't know how to, that is that nervous system just keeping you where you are because it's safe. Even though it may be miserable, it's safe. You know what to expect here. And it's like when we start to venture out and try and do something different, or, like a lot of times people want to have a relationship with someone, but they're afraid, to get on the dating site or, go out on a date or something, or because there's so many scary people out there. And it's like, no, we have to stop allowing that part of us to control our actions because there's a longing inside of us for more and something different. And that longing never goes away. It stays. And then we get, then we'll sedate it or we'll ignore it or we'll cover it up with something, And so until we, really look it in the eye, look the longing in the eye, look our circumstances in the eye and get the tools, get someone to help us to figure out what is it, why am I still in this pattern going round and round? I know there's more for my life. I know there's more that I can be doing. I know I desire this above all things. Why am I not going forward? And so when we get to that place where we understand it's not you as an individual, we're not failures, we're not, not good enough, those are not the truth, but we've told ourselves the story. Well, I'm just stupid, I can't do that, or, I've failed before and why bother? When we tell ourselves the story, that keeps us in a pattern. And when we see that pattern keep going over and over, that's when depression and all sorts of things creep in. And so, just knowing that we can change that, just that knowledge that we can change that we have the power within to change that, and to know that it's not us individually, that it's a human thing, it's a human experience, and that there's reasons for it. And when I look at it and I start to understand it and work with it, I can change my results. I can change the trajectory of my life. I can be the person I was created to be and do the things I was created to do and have the things I was created to have and give the things I want to give. And so it's this, we have to learn to change. We're a slow evolving species, but it's time for us to really take off and really go to the next level.
Wow, change is constant. Hey,
Mhm.
yeah,
Mhm.
wow. That is so important. And I love what you said is when you hear those words can't, don't know how to. And as a coach, and I as well, when I hear those words, I smile because here's where we're going to be working here, right?
It's
Yeah,
clues.
yeah,
It's
and
clues.
and and the desire, the burn, and okay, here's another question, and given the time, and also for me, given the temperature of people that I work with, and I'm hearing in this time of year, this time of life, even, you know,
Mhm.
that here's the question is how do I how do I know when I go into a situation that I've been triggering in the past, what can I do to go into that situation differently? What is, like, if you could give one tool, man, this would be like mega.
I'm going
What
to take
can
a
I
drink of
do
water here real
differently when
quick.
I know I'm going into a situation that triggered me in the past?
Mhm.
In the past, I just wouldn't go there. I would hold there, but I want to change and be able to be.
Absolutely. And the first thing is we always go to the breath because, and some people, it's amazing how many people will resist that one tool. It just floors me. And I guess I did too at the first. Oh, it's so woo woo, what have you, the breath, yoga. And it's like, tell me something more. Tell me something real. But the truth is, our nervous system, we have to bring it down. So when we're triggered, what are we talking about? We're talking about the nervous system has just, something's hit a sore spot and we're jumping. And so in this moment, the most important thing to do is pause and take a breath. And in that moment, and it is breathe in through the nose and out through the mouth, like you're blowing out through a straw. And I always tell the little ones, smell the flowers and blow out the candles. And
Oh,
it's just, it's like, okay, you're getting yourself, you're taking a very mature step by not reacting to the situation and pulling up an old pattern of way of doing something. You're already light years ahead because you've paused and you're saying, I'm this time's going to be different. I don't know what it's going to look like, but it's going to be different. So that in and of itself, when you pause and you take a breath, you've already started on a different trajectory, because we already know the definition of insanity. Keep doing what you're doing thinking you're going to get different results is insanity. And so if I don't pause and I don't take a breath and I react and I think the same thoughts, I'm going to have the same results. That's just the way it is. So I pause, I take a breath, and then I stop and say, well, what is the person, my ideal person I would like to be in this moment? How do I want to show up? And then I make the decision. There's nothing outside of me that can make me be a certain way. I love Eleanor Roosevelt. It's my favorite quote. I use it all the time. It's all the water in the world can't drown you if it doesn't get in you. So if that thing has gotten in me, it's like, okay, it's time for me to get that out of me and look it in the eye and say, okay, you've been here long enough. Thank you for showing up. I appreciate, you're trying to, keep me from a dangerous situation or whatever, but I'm going to do something different today. I'm going to show up as the woman that this doesn't affect in a way that's negative. This is bringing out some good in me. And so decide, I decide in the moment that I'm going to show up like the true version of me, not the controlled version by my circumstances, the person I want to be. And sometimes that's just being quiet. And sometimes that's, open up and leaving space for the creator of the universe, the infinite source, infinite intelligence to have some time in this situation. Know when to walk away, know when to fold them, know when to walk away, but you do it with the right attitude. You don't do it in that all bottled up energy and that fight, flight, or freeze. You don't do it in that energy. You come to it as, I'm growing and I'm going to approach this differently. And so today, just for today, I pause, take a breath, ask the power greater than myself to assist me in being the best version of myself in this situation. And then I just be very careful what I say next.
it's beautiful, 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 beautiful. Hmm. And one of the things that I've been helping, well, that helps me is when I create a vision for after the event and, look at my future self, looking back at the self now, and
Yes.
what is that future self telling me? But I love creating a vision for after event and how I'm feeling after, how proud I am, and
Exactly.
yeah, who I am being. I think,
That's the vision. The vision is the person that I want to be in all of these situations. I want to be the true version of myself, the best version of myself. So that is the vision. And then we apply it in the moment.
oh, beautiful. There you go. There's the emotional, which helps the physical
Mhm.
healing. Yes. Wow. So, is there what about harvesting the good? In perhaps like we've got some time here, just like another quick story now, um, where um, where you've seen what people call miracles, and it was because of a little change.
That's a good one. That's a really good question. People would call miracles, but it happened because of just a little change. Hmm, you've got me on that one. What's one of your stories? Tell me.
Well, I was just thinking about sometimes for me, it's just a change is going outside for 5 minutes and coming back into a situation, or things like that. But it's all harvesting the good, and and is there any like what? Let's see. The tool that you were giving us is the breath. There you go, harvesting the good, and then imagining, who is the person that's there. So, what is a tip or tool that you would love to like give us as we enter this season between Thanksgiving and Christmas
That's
about staying present? Maybe, yeah.
yeah. I'll give you a little story around the holidays. I was um I was going to a family event around the holidays, like most all of us will be doing something, And I have a pretty normal family and friends, and not everybody is on the same wavelength. And there's history and there's things, some people don't agree on. And so as I was getting in my vehicle driving to the event, the thoughts were going, oh, I hope this doesn't happen. And you're just like past history, and this anxiousness was coming over me. And it was like, I just want to enjoy the evening. I just want everyone to enjoy the evening. And then it dawned on me. Thankfully, I had a little bit of a drive to have some time to coach myself. It's like, well, how do you want this evening to end, Kathy? How do you want to see this evening? And I said, I'm going to be with a bunch of people I love. I may not agree with everything, and we may not have always got, to understand each other at the level that I would love to understand each other, and they might not understand each other at that level. But you know what? I love every single one of them. I love every single one of them. They're special to me in many, many ways. And so I said, well, how would you like to show up, Kathy? And I said, you know what? I'd love to show up with a big smile on my face, walk in that door super confident, and hug and give every one of them a kiss, and from my heart, because I do love them, and let them do with it what they want to, and then just sit back and enjoy the rest of the evening. And that's exactly what I did. I decided, I saw myself, again, the vision. I created a mini vision for that evening. It's like, how do I want to show up? I want to show up like the lady who's really thankful that we have this opportunity to be together. Very thankful that we have as many, because we've got several that have passed and gone on to the next phase of their journey. And so, but the ones that are here are really here now. This is the most important moment. So I'm going to make the most of it. And so I saw myself walking in the door, just, so happy to be there, so happy to see their faces. And I gave every single one of them a hug and loved on them and just enjoyed the evening. And you know what? I don't even know what they did. I don't know how they reacted. I don't even know, because I was so enamored with my experience and creating my own experience that I had a great time. So, I put myself in a bubble a lot.
Oh, that right there, that's such gold right there. I love it. Well, this has been perfect for right here, right now, and I love it. And what we like to do at Paradigm Shifters is put a blessing on you and ask you, what is it that you would love to have us, our community, hold for you, Kathy?
Oh my goodness. I would just love more opportunities like this to share the gifts and the all the beautiful. I've been doing this, I started personal development a very long time ago, and prior to that, and when I came to the understanding that we are what we think about. And then I had an epiphany the other day. I was standing in the bathroom and I said to myself, it was one of those, was Napoleon Hill moments where he says, well, it could happen. It was one of those moments. I was standing in the bathroom and I looked myself in the eye and I said, you can think any thought you want at any time. And it just stopped me. It's like, my gosh, I can stop anything that's going on at any moment and change my thought and decide how I want to think. It blew me away. It blew me away. And I know I've heard this, but people don't know that they can do that. People don't know that our society, the paradigms that have been built, I'm depressed, I have, HDAD, ADHD, or whatever letters you want to put on, well, I'm an alcoholic, or I've had this problem, or, this experience. And we title and identify with our experiences way more than with the person that we are. And we are all such magnificent, I'm going to cry. We're all so magnificent and have so much value that it is my heart's desire to help as many people as possible see their true value and live the life they were created to live. So that's my heart's desire.
Oh, okay, here we go. You're on the receiving end now, Kathy. So everyone around the world, we're creating the energy for you being the light for so many people. And here we go. Catch it? And so it is.
And so it is.
So we let it be.
Yes. Thank you so much. And Judy, can I just bless you and your audience as well in my tradition? I just thank you, creator of the universe, king of the universe. I just thank you for this opportunity and for this beautiful lady that you brought into my life that is so gifted and beautiful and heart-centered and full of joy. And I just thank you for the work that she's doing. Bless everything that she puts her hands to. And may everyone that receives anything that comes from her feel a shift in their lives and know that their life is now and it's good. And I praise this in your blessed name.
I receive.
Made me cry.
Thank you so, so much. And here we go. Ah, there you go. Hang it. Give me a second to. Ah, there you go.